Let's clarify from the very beginning. Kindness alone is not enough to survive in this world. If you believe that simply being a good person will bring you happiness, you are living in a fantasy. And deep down, you know it. I often repeat one of Jung's phrases, "I could be a kind person, but I prefer to be whole." What did he mean? Surely you've often done the right thing, only to be ignored or taken advantage of. You were taught that being honest and noble is right, but life isn't like that. The world does not reward kindness. It rewards those who know how to play their cards right. Virtue without cunning is weakness. Kindness without strategy is a trap. How many times have you fallen into this trap? Think about the people you admire. Do you really believe they achieved all that solely through good intentions? No. They succeeded because they knew when to stay in the shadows and when to step into the light. The problem isn't that you're good. The problem is that you don't know how to protect yourself. You assume others play by the same rules as you, but they don't. As one of my favorite characters from Fargo said, "You've spent your whole life thinking there are rules. There aren't." The world is full of predators disguised as friends, traitors who can spot naivety from a mile away, and without realizing it, you've become their perfect target. In his book Kinds of Power, Jungian analyst James Hillman offers such a concept as reasonable kindness. This isn't about becoming a villain or compromising your principles. It's about learning to read people, anticipate their intentions, and know when to trust and when to stay guarded. Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And you'd probably prefer to be loved, accepted, seen as harmless. But what has that gotten you? Neither respect nor power, because kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration. It invites pity. Image is everything. It's not just about who you are, but how you're perceived. If you appear weak, you'll be treated as weak. If you project strength, you command respect. Ask yourself, how many times have you allowed people to disrespect you out of fear of losing their approval? This isn't about cruelty, it's about strategy. The mistake good people make is believing the world values the purity of their heart. It doesn't. The world values strength, security, and the ability to make tough decisions. Kindness is respected only when backed by power. Without strength, your kindness is meaningless. Don't be a lamb in a world of wolves. Don't let your morals turn you into a servant. True virtue isn't submission, it's wisdom. Hillman wrote Kinds of Power not to teach you ruthlessness, but to teach you survival. Will you keep living under the illusion that kindness alone is enough? Or will you start seeing the world clearly? Here's something few understand: the perception of power. It's not enough to be strong, you must seem strong. It's not enough to have intellect, you must demonstrate it. Because in a world that judges by appearances, how you present yourself determines how you're treated. Reality matters less than others' perceptions of you. How often have you seen incompetent people rise above the truly talented? How often do manipulators succeed while the noble and hardworking hit dead ends? This is no coincidence. People don't follow goodness or justice. They follow those who appear to control the situation. Those who master their image, exude authority, and act confidently, even when they don't have all the answers. This is where many fail. They believe truth alone is enough, that competence speaks for itself. But the world rewards not those who are right, but those who know how to sell their version of the story. It's not about who you are. It's about who people think you are. Perception is everything. An insecure leader, no matter how qualified, won't inspire trust. An employee who goes unnoticed will never get promoted, even if they're the best. A person who doesn't demonstrate their value will be overlooked no matter what they offer. This is why your task isn't just to be yourself, it's to control the narrative. You must learn to shape your image to create the right impression in every situation. This isn't about deception, it's about directing attention where you want it. In every social interaction, people don't see reality as it is. They see it through their own filters, assumptions, biases, emotions. The question is, do you let these filters work against you, or do you use them to your advantage? If you're good but seem weak, you'll be treated as weak. If you're fair but appear soft, you'll be trampled. If you're talented but seem unsure, you'll be ignored. It's that simple. The art of perception separates those who control their destiny from those controlled by others. And here we confront a deeper, darker truth. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Awareness of perceptual power is a collision with your own shadow. You may despise those who manipulate others' perceptions, but as long as you refuse to play the game, you'll be controlled by them. Every person wears a mask. The only question is whether they're aware of it. Those who master their image don't lose authenticity. They become architects of their fate. Those who neglect this remain prisoners of others' projections. True power lies not in rejecting influence, but in wielding it consciously, without losing yourself. Have you ever wondered why the most influential people always seem to know something others don't? The answer is simple. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. Naive people believe absolute honesty is virtuous, that saying everything they think and sharing everything they know is right, but information is power, and giving it away has consequences. Machiavelli warned that a ruler must conceal their true intentions, not to deceive, but because in a world where everyone seeks advantage, over-disclosure makes you vulnerable. Learn to control what you reveal. Say only what's necessary, no more. Cultivate mystery. Make people guess what you're really thinking. Because the moment you become entirely predictable, the moment others can anticipate your every move, you lose every strategic edge you ever had. The greatest figures in history, in politics, business, art, understood this. Strategic silence is as powerful as speech. How often have you trusted the wrong person, only to have your words used against you? How often have you over-explained to people who never deserved your honesty? Power lies in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Why? Because silence breeds uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds curiosity, and curiosity yields power. If you always say exactly what you think, unfiltered, people lose interest. If you constantly justify yourself, people assume you need to justify yourself. But when you speak sparingly, when you weigh your words and leave room for interpretation, people start paying real attention. Another key concept, the art of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. If your reactions, emotions, and decisions are always the same, others will learn to anticipate and exploit you. But when you're unpredictable, when no one can guess your next move, you become dangerous. And when you're dangerous, you're respected. A leader who's an open book is weak. A leader who maintains an air of mystery, adapts when needed, and refuses labels. That's a leader who retains power. So ask yourself, do you want to be an open book, read and used by everyone? Or do you want to be a strategist, someone who controls their image, information, and unpredictability to their advantage? Because kindness without strategy is an invitation to be devoured. The world won't change its rules for you, so learn to play by the rules that actually exist, not the ones you were taught to believe in. If you do this well, if you apply what actually works, you'll stop being the system's victim and start becoming one of its masters. You'll become the decider. Many think power comes from constant visibility, always being seen, always being heard. But the opposite is true. Those who are too accessible lose value. Scarcity creates desire. Absence creates influence. Why do some command respect by mere presence, while others, no matter how hard they try, never inspire authority? The difference lies in how their value is perceived. A ruler shouldn't be too familiar, not out of contempt, but because overfamiliarity erodes respect. When you're always available, when you give without limits, people take your presence, effort, and generosity for granted. This principle applies beyond power. It's true in relationships, work, and life itself. Give too much, and you become disposable. Be too available, and you become a resource, not a valued person. How often have you been there for everyone, only to be ignored when you needed help? This isn't random. It's human nature. Abundance is taken for granted. Scarcity is prized. This is why you must regulate your presence, control your attention, monitor how accessible you seem. Don't always respond immediately. Don't always be within reach. Make your absence felt. Give your presence meaning, because when you start disappearing at the right moments, people start seeking you. The problem? Most fear disappearing. They think stepping back means being forgotten. But if your only way to be remembered is constant presence, you were never truly valuable. The most influential aren't the loudest. They're those who understand the power of silence. They know when to withdraw and when to re-emerge. This brings us to the crux, emotional control. Most believe power comes from dominance, raising your voice, showing aggression, imposing yourself. But true mastery lies in absolute control over emotions. The moment you lose control, you lose power. Those who act impulsively, who succumb to anger or anxiety, become predictable, manageable, and weak. Think, when was the last time someone provoked you? In that moment of anger, of irrational reaction, who held the power? Not you. It was the provocateur, because whoever controls your emotions controls your actions. The person who can't be provoked, who stays composed no matter what, that's who holds real power. In debates, negotiations, relationships, the winner is always the one who controls their emotions. Why? Because emotional control shapes how others perceive you. And in a world where perception dictates reality, that's everything. Prudence demands cold, calculated action. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about not being enslaved by them. Let someone dictate your reactions and you surrender control. But master your emotions, refuse to be baited, and you become untouchable. Others may test you, try to rattle you, but if they can't shake your inner world, if they can't predict your response, they lose all leverage over you. History's most powerful weren't always the strongest or loudest. They were the ones who kept calm while others lost their heads. Most want immediate results. Success now, respect now, power now. But true power belongs to those who wait for the perfect moment to strike. The world is full of people who rush in, act thoughtlessly, and fail to foresee consequences. That's why they lose. Those who truly control the game know how to wait, watch, and calculate. Picture a hunter. They don't attack at the first sign of movement. They measure distance, study their prey, and wait until the target is perfectly positioned. Then they strike. That's how power works. Victory goes not to the first mover, but to the one who acts at the right moment. Luck favors the adaptable. The mediocre act on impulse. Strategists wait for their opening. Are you the type who charges blindly, or the one who waits to strike with precision? Because in this world, power doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the smartest. Those who master perception, information, distance, emotional control, and strategic patience. Apply these, and you'll stop being a pawn and start becoming a player. The world will remain ruthless, but now you'll know its rules. What separates survivors from victors? The ability to become an anomaly in the system. Because now you know, kindness alone isn't enough. Perception is everything. Emotional control is power. Strategic patience defeats impulsiveness. Scarcity increases your value. But what's the point of knowing this if you still act like everyone else? If you want different results, you must stop thinking like the majority, not by recklessly breaking rules, but by rewriting the script entirely. The problem with most? They stay within imposed limits. They follow the same patterns. They react as expected. They operate within acceptable bounds. And that's why they remain trapped, while those who understand the game rise above it. Those who leave a mark, who turn the game to their advantage, are the ones who dare to be unpredictable. They do what no one expects. The world is designed to devour the obedient. Act like everyone else and you'll end like everyone else. Another forgotten name in the endless stream of time. The only way to win is to break from the herd, be the one who acts differently, the one who reacts unexpectedly, the one who always has an ace up their sleeve, the one people listen to, not because they shout, but because their words are rare, and rarity has value. Once you grasp this, something shifts. You realize you were never weak. You were just playing without strategy. You'll see that people ignored you not because you lacked value, but because you didn't know how to show it. But now you do, and that's dangerous. If you've made it this far, I want to know, who truly understands? Write a comment, "Power in Silence." If this shifted your perspective, don't forget to like, and I'll see you in a brighter future.